Good morning. I wrote this song at the very beginning of my career with Big Bad Gina, with Renee and Melody and RJ, about how love crosses borders and love makes a family. But all the kids grew up, and then my friend got another partner. I needed a sequel. So I made this remix with the same message, that love makes a family. When you're laughing or crying, when you're rich or you're poor, oh, love, 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 love. Far away or next door, through space and through time, oh, love, 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 love. Love makes a family. Love is love, is love. Love makes a family. Love is love. Choose love. It ties us, it binds us, it keeps us, it weaves us, it takes all kinds. Whoa, oh, love, 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 love is love. Love makes a family. Love is love, is love. Love makes a family. Love, love is love. Love is love. Love makes a family. Love is love. Choose love. It makes us, it takes us, caresses and wakes us. It takes all kinds. Whoa, oh, love, 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 love is love. Love makes a family. Love is love. Choose love. Love makes a family. Love, love is love. Choose love. Love makes a family. Through walls that divide, choose love. Through walls that divide, always choose love. Always choose love. Always choose love. Love, love makes a family. Love makes a family. Love is love. Choose love. Love makes a family. Love makes a family. Thank y'all.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jules Taylor, and it's so great to see everybody here. And thank you, Jory, for that great song. Unitarian Universalism is a religious tradition that values freedom in religious thought and journey. We uphold the unity to our inner connections, connections to each other, to all of life, and to the precious universe of which we are a part. We affirm the universality of love and hope as we journey together in community. And we welcome you, whoever you are at this moment, and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. If you're joining us on Facebook, welcome. Glad to have you. In the seat in front of you, there are white cards. These are the visitor cards. If you are new and your first time, we'd love to have you fill this out. Perhaps a greeter caught you in the lobby and you already did it, so that's wonderful. We'd love to keep in touch with you. There's also these yellow cards. These are your joys and concerns, and you can fill these out as you would like. Somebody will pick them up, or you can, oh, we have stones. We'll do a nice little procession and drop stones into the water. Some can be read aloud or not, whichever you prefer. If you're on Facebook, you can type them in there also. If you need any kind of hearing assistance or any questions about tech, that's David. And there he is. Yay, David. He's our tech guy, and he will help you out with any of those kind of questions. If you have children, we love having children around. It's so wonderful, but also please do keep in mind we have an awesome nursery downstairs with the delightful Alex. That is so much fun to be around. So never hesitate to take your kids down there. And lastly, I'd like to just read a quick welcome poem to you. Welcome to this place of possibility. This is love's hearth, the home of hope, a refuge for minds in search of truth, unfolding ever beautiful and ever strange. Here, compassion is our shelter, freedom our protection from the storms of bigotry and hate. In this abode, may we find comfort and courage. Here may our sight become our vision, to see the unseen, to glimpse the good that is yet to come. Welcome.
Thank you, Jules. Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day. Thank you for choosing to spend it here with us. Today's topic is immigration. And I want to open with two readings from the Bible, which has more to say about immigration than some realize. One of these readings is from the Hebrew Bible, or what Christians call the Old Testament, and one from the New Testament. First, from Leviticus chapter 19. When a foreigner resides with you in your land, you shall do him no wrong. You shall treat the foreigner who resides with you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were foreigners in the land of Egypt. And the second reading, a little bit longer, it's from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, talking about a future day of judgment. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to see me." Then the righteous will answer him, saying, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison?" And the king will answer them, "Truly, I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, you did it to me."
Please join me in speaking in the words on the screen as we light our chalice. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and truth, and to help one another. Thus do we covenant together.
This is probably a familiar tune to many of you, and the words are in your gray hymnal 159, and please rise and swing and sing with me if you're willing and able. for singing.
Morning. Today's story is a little solemn. It's a lot of pictures. It's a true picture book, but I think you'll enjoy it. It's called Two White Rabbits, and I have Maple here to help me read. Two White Rabbits by Jairo Buitrago and Raphael Yachting.
When we travel, I count what I see.
Can you all hear? You might have to kind of lean toward that. We can't touch the mic, so just talk loud.
When we travel, I count what I see. Five cows, 4 hens, and 1
Chucho.
as my dad calls them.
Do you see the coyote? We'll learn more about that in a minute.
1 little bored donkey and 50 birds in the sky.
Can you say that one more time, just a little louder?
1 little bored donkey and 50 birds in the sky.
Anybody know the name of that river? Rio Grande.
When we travel, I count the people who live by the train tracks. There are people, says my dad, who live by the tracks. And if I get tired, I look up and count the clouds. I learned to count to 100. Some of them have shapes. They are swans, they are trees, they are rabbits. When we travel, I also sleep, and I dream that I am not moving.
That I am moving.
That I am moving, that I am not stopping.
Can you imagine what it would be like to sleep on the top of a train?
But we do stop because the people who are taking us don't always take us where we are going. Where are we going? I ask sometimes, but no one answers. We wait on the side of the highway. We aren't traveling right now. There's a boy, I count one. There isn't any other. Papa works while we wait, just the same as usual. The boy stays with me. We count the cars that go by, the dogs that go by, but I don't think the boy knows how to count very well. I show him my clouds, the ones that have shapes. And he shows me his box. There are 2 white rabbits in it.
Those are real rabbits. The kids wanted to know this morning, are those real rabbits? Yes, they are.
The truck that is going to take us arrives. The boy and his grandmother look at us the way people we meet on the road look at us. Goodbye, says the boy, his grandmother too, and they give me the box. Where are we going? I ask again, but they don't answer.
What's in the man's wallet? Nothing. Not very much.
Sometimes when I am not sleeping, I count the stars. There are thousands like people, and I count the moon. It is alone. Sometimes I see soldiers, but I don't count them anymore. There are about 100. We are back on the road, and I have 2 white rabbits.
See the wall? Okay. You guys can read that, right? The father and daughter in this book are leaving their home and the world they know and love to go to a different country. Maybe it is because the father cannot find work and a way to support his daughter at home. Maybe because the world they live in has been destroyed by violence, war, and danger. We don't know. What we know is that millions of people around the world become refugees every year. In North America, close to 100,000 children from Central America make the very dangerous trip that you see here to try to find safety and a way to survive in the United States. Coyotes, symbolized by the actual coyote in the book, are people who they pay to help them make the trip. They often betray and abandon them, and when they finally make it to the border, they might be turned back or arrested, and many of the children who come to the United States alone are sitting in American detention centers along the Mexican border waiting to hear their fate. What do those of us who have safe, comfortable lives owe to people who do not? Patricia Aldana, president of IBBY Foundation. I just made a couple of notes. Many of you know that I work as a school counselor. I do have experience with kids who have made this journey with loved ones, and it's often very scary and traumatic for them. Sometimes the person they're traveling with is indeed sent back, and then the United States government places them with sponsors who may or may not be safe people, loosely connected with the family. And this is happening in Northwest Arkansas. And actually, I found a news story in 2021. Governor Hutchinson gave a press briefing on the rise of unaccompanied minors in Arkansas who have been placed in poor or unsafe conditions. When kids get here to the United States, they cannot access medical care. They cannot access mental health care to process the trauma of the journey. And a lot of them speak only Spanish, so school is very hard for them. If they're lucky to have someone to live with, if they're lucky to stay with the grown-up that they make the journey with, and they have a place to land when they get here, it might not be the easiest situation for them. Lots of times, many people in one home, and they're very vulnerable and just look like glad to have shelter. And so they're, because of this, often they are abused, the kids are, and sometimes the adults are, and often they are trafficked. I find a lot of adults in Northwest Arkansas are very surprised to learn of the human and sex trafficking numbers in our region, and with kids too, is happening with kids too. There are good news, there's good news. There are some agencies in Northwest Arkansas that are helping with this population, and Jean might touch on a few. Canopy is one. Arkansas Immigrant Defense is another. But they could use any help that you could give, volunteering, donating, money. So, thank you. Good job, Mabel. Thank you.
And now, friends, I'm touching the mic. Doing it. I'm doing it. Gene did it first, but I encouraged him. Now, friends, it's just time for joys and concerns. If you have filled out your yellow card, Gene, would you like to drop the stones? And Jory, can you give us some lovely little procession music? And if you'd like to just come on up here one at a time and drop some stones into the water. Right down this aisle, right down here would be great. Yay. Thank you for starting the trend. Ah, there we go. Thank you so much. And of course, the dropping of the stones is symbolic of the ripples. One stone and the ripples that we keep creating more and more throughout the universe. So I'm really happy to be here with all of you and creating our own ripples right here. It's so wonderful. Thank you. Something that is really, first I would like to ask David or Carol or whoever's, I can't see who's back there. Are there anything on Facebook?
That's it.
Thank you so much. And Jean is dropping a stone, and thank you for sharing those. So, thank you for sharing, and we hold that up. Sadness for innocent people in the Middle East, and a prayer for peace. Thank you, Lee. And now on the other side of the human scale, I love this. The two joys that came are both about, anybody have a guess? The eclipse. Oh, I was thrilled to see the total eclipse with my kids this past week, and hope many of you saw it too. It was an incredible experience. It really was. Says the eclipse was a religious experience. It totally was. I hope everyone enjoyed. We did it on our mountaintop with both of our boys and many others. It's really neat. Yes, thanks. Thank you. We hold all of those joys and concerns together as a community and lift you up in whichever way that you need. Thank you so much for sharing. And so speaking of joys, first of all, I'd like to, if you noticed down here, there were several different ideas of what that might be from afar. But what it is they are hydration packets that you put like in water and they have nutrition in them. And Seven Hills is requesting this as a donation. It's very easy to store, very easy to give people in transit, etc. So these are hydration packets. This is one brand. There are several others. So if you happen to be out and see some, maybe pick them up, bring them here, and then we'll get them to Seven Hills. Now we'd like to do the offering, and of course the offering is symbolic on many levels of what you can give, and sometimes that is money if you have that and can give that, and that is always of great use, of course. And it's also your gifts of your times and your talent. And as we as a community give towards all of those intentions, we create them greater. And as you give, may it increase, and as you give, mindfully thinking about why you are giving. Thank you so much.
There's this old story about a child came to church for the first time with a friend. They were very confused about what was happening, and they said, "What does it mean when somebody gets up and they say, 'Everybody, let's stand if you're able'?" "Well, we're about to sing a song." "What does it mean people come up front with baskets and they start passing them down?" "Well, they're collecting money." "What does it mean when the preacher takes off his watch and he like sets it up on the pulpit?" Like, "Oh, that doesn't mean anything." So I have this problem of picking messages that don't fit in the time that is allotted, but do the best with what we have, right? We are a nation of immigrants and descendants of immigrants. Even the Native Americans, who arrived long before most of our ancestors, they immigrated here. They migrated from northern Asia. And yet, a significant number of our fellow Americans are afraid of immigrants and feel that high levels of immigration are a threat to them. In the last 2 years especially, there's been a surge of immigrants at our southern border, many of them refugees. There are some politicians who actually are preventing solutions in order to worsen the crisis and use it for political gain. A former president has attacked migrants in often degrading terms, characterizing them as dangerous criminals who are, quote, poisoning the blood of America. He has vowed to finish building a border wall and to launch, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. Immigration may very well be the deciding issue in this year's presidential election. It seems appropriate today to examine and, I hope, debunk some of the common myths, false beliefs that are often expressed in the media, traditional media, social media, or by just people that we know. I've got 9 of these, just to warn you, but there are a lot more, actually. So I whittled down the list to focus on a few that I think particularly need to be addressed. Myth number 1, Americans have always happily accepted immigrants as long as they come in legally. You heard this one. It's not true. Americans have always been quite ambivalent about immigrants, however they came in. And this goes way, way back as well in our history. It is not a recent development. In fact, I found this article from 1845 in a newspaper, and it's kind of a long, but read this. I mean, this could have been written, some of the wording maybe would be differently, but this could have been written as a post on social media recently. At present, our population is sufficient for every moral, social, and national purpose. We have here among us men skilled in every known science, profession, and art. Our mechanics are the most inventive and ingenious in the world. We can develop, extra E there, as need may require, every resource and hidden treasure that our country possesses, and we are numerically strong enough. Little side note, the population of the country was approximately 20 million at the time. We are numerically strong enough, when united and thoroughly nationalized, our position being considered, to resist the combined powers of the earth. What more, then, do we need in the way of unnatural increase in population? Nothing, surely. Why, then, should we, at the hazard of every national institution which we hold dear, continue extraordinary inducements to further immigration? Why should we permit the pauper houses, the jails, and penitentiaries of Europe to be emptied upon us and proclaim on their arrival among us their inmates, steeped in vice and crime, our equals, by investing them with all the rights and privileges which we enjoy, rights and privileges upon a proper and intelligent exercise of which depend their own existence and the existence of our government as a republican democracy. You can find a lot of these in the 1840s, newspapers.com. There was a huge wave of feeling against immigrants, and that's because there was a huge wave of immigrants coming from Ireland. This xenophobia, or fear or hatred of foreigners, has often raised its ugly head in our history. The Irish, though, you might think, aren't they white and didn't they speak English? Well, a lot of people in the 1840s thought they're kind of off-white. They're not Anglo-Saxon. They're this inferior race of Irish, wild Irish people. They're lazy. They're, all these stereotypes. They're drunk. They're fighting. They're paupers. They're poor. They're unskilled. They're not white enough. Plus, almost all of them are Catholic. Well, this, raised its head again when waves came from other places like Germany, Italy, Poland, Hungary, Russia, many Catholics and also Jews, which also frightened or angered some people. Immigrants from China were specifically targeted and barred from entry to the United States after 1882. We've gone back and forth, though, as a country. In the 1920s, for the first time in our history, laws were passed restricting immigration across the board. So that means up until the 1920s, which I'm going to say for most of us here, our ancestors probably came before the 1920s. What did it mean to come in legally? Anybody could come in. So to act like somehow my ancestors followed all the rules, there were no rules. As long as you weren't foaming at the mouth, anybody could come in. That's how we got in. That's how my great-great-great-grandparents got in. In the 1920s, under largely the influence of a renewed Ku Klux Klan, which was national, not just Southern in scope, national and very anti-Catholic, anti-Semitic, laws were passed imposing quotas that specifically were targeted to reduce immigration from everywhere except Western Europe, which turns out wasn't that interested in coming anymore. Our relations with the our southern neighbors have also varied over the years, from actually actively recruiting workers to come work in our fields and harvest our crops, to, during the 1930s, kicking out people, some of whom were U.S. citizens of Mexican-American ancestry, kicking them out so that white people could have their jobs in the fields. And then reversing course again in the 1940s and 50s, the Bracero program, to bring these people in often under very difficult working conditions, to say the least. We've gone back and forth. During the 1930s and early 40s, the U.S., to its credit, did accept about 200,000 Jewish refugees from Germany and other parts of Europe. That's the good news. The bad news is we could have accepted more, even under our quota system, but there was a feeling that Jews were untrustworthy and greedy, and we had too many already, and so forth. And so we actually turned away ships loaded with refugees from Germany because we said enough is enough. Well, they won't all be as long as myth number one. Myth number two. A lot of Americans believe this. Most people around the world really want to live in the United States. A lot of people in our country assume, maybe everyone in the rest of the world secretly wants to live here. Actually, polling has been done, and it turns out something like 86% of people want to stay in the country they were born in. What? When we're the greatest? Oh. And then they asked those 14% who said they would like to live somewhere else, where would you like to live? And it came out about 3% of the world's population wants to live in the United States. So we can calm down. Now, I wasn't smart enough, like most of you, to be born in this country. I was born in Brazil. I was smart enough to pick American parents, so I would have U.S. citizenship. And I spent the first 10 years of my life in Brazil. That doesn't make me an expert on Brazil or international living, but I can tell you I've met a lot of Brazilians, and I know how a lot of them feel about the U.S. Most of them love the U.S., and they love Americans. They don't always love our government's policies, and most of them would love to visit the U.S. They want to see Disney World and the Grand Canyon and New York City and so forth. But most of them do not want to move here. And the ones who do, it's because there's some very good reason that they need to leave or they need help. And this is true around the world. So why are so many people from places like Venezuela, El Salvador, Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Afghanistan, India, the Philippines, coming to this country? Why, as we saw in this story, beautiful story today, why would somebody undergo a journey like that? Leave their home, everything they've ever known, most of their extended family, embark on a long, difficult, dangerous trip, which they might not survive, or they might get robbed or beaten up on, often by foot, often with children in tow. A journey that may fail. Once they reach their destination, they may not be able to get in. And if they do, they will encounter a foreign language, a foreign culture, people who look at them suspiciously, to get a very difficult job, mopping floors, building a roof, slicing a chicken. Why would somebody do this? What would possess them? People who study demography and migration say there are two factors, push factors and pull factors. There are things pushing you. When anyone migrates, there's something pushing you out. Why did you go where you went to? Something pulled you there. And there are two basic reasons that we're having this large influx, and that is number one is economic. People see this difficult journey and difficult transition as the only real hope for their family economically to put food on the table and to survive. And the second is they fear for their lives if they stay where they are because of violence, either political or drug-related or gang-related or something. They're coming because they see it as the only viable path to survival and success. Myth number 3, the United States is more welcoming to immigrants than any other country in the world. We're easier to get into and we're more friendly and welcoming and encouraging. Not true, not true. In fact, we rank 54th. Now this is in what, you might ask, but this is percentage of people living in our country who were born in another country. Now this is out of 200 countries in the world, and some of those are very small islands or just small countries. So if you make it just the countries with at least 8 million people, that's where I did the cutoff, we still rank number 12. So these are percentages of people in these countries who were not born in that country, whether they're legally documented or not. And you can see we're not in the top 7. Canada is much more welcoming than we are, in fact. Finally, we pop in at number 12, just barely ahead of 3 other countries. The good news, that does represent a lot of people that are allowed in, but by no means puts us even in the top 10 percentage-wise. Myth number 4, the best way to reduce the number of people fleeing to the U.S. is to build walls, which apparently those countries will pay for somehow. In fact, how those countries I listed in particular, where many people are fleeing from who really don't want to, what could be done? Well, how about improved conditions in their home countries? Unfortunately, we actually, in our government, has policies in place that actually encourage people to leave their home countries. and come here. It's kind of unintentional consequences of some of our policies involving the war on drugs. We've sort of exported the violence. You know, I talk in my history classes about Prohibition and all the gang violence and Al Capone. And with drugs, this time we've been smarter. We've exported all that gang violence south of us. But Americans actually are fueling both the demand for drugs and also the enforcement, the money for interdiction. We're funding both sides of the drug wars. And people are fleeing the violence to come here. The other thing is some of our trade policies. In order to protect American farmers, and I know we all love farmers, so I'm going to say agribusiness, because a lot of the beneficiaries actually are large multinational corporations, not little bitty farmers, you know. But in order to benefit the sugar industry, the cotton industry, the corn industry, our government subsidizes those, keeping the prices high, meaning people in Haiti who might want to sell us sugar can't, because our laws do not make it so expensive. And I'm probably getting into the weeds too much, but our government does things sometimes to destabilize other countries politically, Cuba and Venezuela being examples of trade restrictions that make their countries unlivable almost and cause them to want to come. So it's odd that we're actually sometimes creating policies fueling migration. Myth number 5, migrant workers are harming the U.S. economy, taking my job, you know, or something like that. No, they're not. Migrant workers are usually filling jobs that would go unfilled and are actually creating additional jobs in the process. And this isn't just me saying this. There are almost all economists agree on this, believe it or not. It's just a lot of politicians don't care what the economists say because they know what the voters like to hear or what gets them to turn out. So let me quote, this is from a PBS NewsHour story. How has the U.S. economy managed to prosper, adding hundreds of thousands of jobs? New report just came out, added 300,000 jobs. At a time when the Federal Reserve has aggressively raised interest rates to fight inflation, increasingly the answer appears to be immigrants, whether living in the United States legally or not. The influx of foreign-born adults vastly raised the supply of available workers after a U.S. labor shortage left many companies unable to fill jobs. And it goes on to talk about there are many businesses that would basically fold if they did not have immigrant workers coming in. So it's a reality, and even Milton Friedman. So growing up in the 80s, I read Milton Friedman, and I kind of got hooked on it. I went through a phase. But a conservative, almost a libertarian economist, and he was saying things like immigration is great and that it actually helps. It's good for the immigrants. It's good for the U.S. Now, he does have this thing at the end. He says it's only good as long as it's illegal. What he meant by that is we shouldn't give them any benefits, like welfare, basically, is what he was getting at. But he made the case that if we really believe in free markets, like conservatives, all about free enterprise, and you should believe also in the free movement of people. That's part of the free enterprise system. People go where the jobs are. Myth number 6, undocumented immigrants don't pay taxes. You've all seen that special line at Walmart for undocumented immigrants that's no sales tax. Or that special line at the gas station, no taxes if you're an illegal. No. Obviously, they pay billions in sales tax and property taxes and many other taxes, including many pay into Social Security using fake numbers that they will never collect that money. We will. They're actually funding our Social Security system to the tune of $10 billion a year. And so, yes, they are paying taxes. How about this one? Myth number 7, immigrants are causing the crime rate to increase. And so when there is an incident where an undocumented immigrant commits a crime or is accused of committing a crime, this becomes cause all of a sudden to reject all immigrants, when the fact is immigrants commit crime at a lower rate than native-born citizens. As John Stewart said, still plenty of crime opportunities for the native-born. They're not being threatened. I shouldn't joke about crime. It's very serious. I notice though, people get so outraged at this. But what about when 5 immigrants die on a bridge, and they're doing jobs because native-born citizens didn't want to do them, and they died? Are we as sad about that? And boy, that could have been 5 native-born Americans that died. I didn't sense that people were as torn up about that. So there are the statistics. This chart goes way, way back to the Irish. But if you look at the more recent years on the far right, the incarceration rate for immigrants is lower than white U.S.-born citizens, far less in recent years. Immigrants, especially if they're undocumented, are very careful to not get arrested. I mean, they don't want to get in trouble. They didn't come here to commit crime. They came here to get a job, right? Immigrants harm American culture. This one's so ridiculous, almost doesn't need a response. They've enriched our culture in so many ways. Almost anything you can think of in our culture has been enriched by immigrants. They're often immigrants. You know, it's not the extreme poor indigent who usually immigrate. It's somebody who wants to improve their life. They've got some ambition, and they bring that with them and that drive and benefit us. So I'm going to have to edit this part, but yeah, Alexander Hamilton, immigrants get it done. And they have in so many fields. I'm sorry I included Elon Musk, but there you go. Immigrants have participated, and especially if you get to the arts entertainment field, it's like, I don't even want to get into all the Canadians because there's, William Shatner and Martin Short, and it gets insane after a while. But we've been deeply enriched. These are people who actually became U.S. citizens. There are many others that don't go through that trouble, but and then if you expand it to say, well, what about someone whose parent was born in another country? Of course, then the list becomes unmanageable, but it would include then Barack Obama and Kamala Harris, who both of her parents were born in other countries, one in India, one in Jamaica. And of course, Barack Obama's father born in Kenya. Barack Obama was born in Hawaii. What did I say? His father was born in Kenya. Okay, make sure I said that right. His mother is white as many of us and actually has connections in Arkansas, in Madison County, which they were thrilled to hear. I didn't know where to put this chart, but I just thought, I came across it and I thought, that's interesting. So basically, this is the third most spoken language in every state. Look at Arkansas, Marshallese. And to our west, a lot of Vietnamese. To our south, French, Louisiana, of course. But such a beautiful diversity. Some native languages like Navajo, European, Asian. Fascinating to me. And the last one here. I wanted to end on a positive note. And because of what we hear in the media, a lot of us assume, well, most Americans apparently are anti-immigrant. And it turns out they're not. What? 68% of Americans agreed, this is a Gallup poll, agreed with the statement, immigration is a good thing for our country. Now, some of those same people, are concerned and want to see changes and so forth, but overall, a strong majority of Americans are pro-immigration, so we shouldn't be too discouraged. Well, I know I'm preaching to the choir on this subject, but the choir needs to hear sermons too. Let us recommit ourselves to the principle that every human being, regardless of where they were born, has inherent worth and dignity. And let us work to make that a reality by the way we talk, by the way we act, getting involved with organizations like Canopy to help refugees resettle, and by the way we vote. May it be so.
We think of him as just our Gene, but that's Dr. Gene Vinzant, Professor of History. Thank you so much. And let us continue to build a new way and build our country with immigrants that make it richer. Please rise and please feel free to sing and dance about it if you would like. Let's get it. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free, to be free. We are working to be free, free. Working to be free, free of hate, greed, and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. And feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace, freedom, peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Last line. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. What a great service. Jean, all that information was pretty amazing. Thank you. And the announcements are here, and they're also in your program. And I also wanted to point out, if you are new or you are considering maybe joining one of the teams, everybody's contact information is on the back. So if you want to reach out to anybody specifically, that would be fantastic too. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a great Sunday. And closing words from Jean.
Next week, one of our favorite philosophers, Dr. Doug Kruger, will be with us. So closing words are from a poem that is at the base of the Statue of Liberty. The poem is called, some of you know it, some of you may have memorized it, The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, who was the daughter of immigrants. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me, you're tired, you're poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. And Jory will play us out. Thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you.
When you're laughing or crying, when you're rich or you're poor, oh, oh, love, 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 love. Far away or next door, through space and through time, thank you, love, love, love. Choose love. Love makes a family. Love is love. Choose love. Love makes a family. It ties us, it binds us. It keeps us, it weaves us. It takes all kinds. Whoa, oh, love, 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 love is love. Love makes a family. Love is love. Is love. Love makes a family. It makes us, it takes us. Caresses and wakes us. It takes all kinds. Oh, oh, love, 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 love is love. Love makes a family. Love is love. Choose love.